Welcome back to Sen Crypto. In today's content, we're going to talk about BTC and then the current price action of BTC, right? So as you can see on the screen, right, our target was 51 to 53, right? We hit 53 on the dot, like 53.30 on Coinbase, and then 52.75 on Binance, right? So but it is pretty critical now. I said like once we hit 53, I'm going to update the price, but I couldn't update the price until BTC start like to move sideways, right? So like I said on my previous BTC update, it is very critical like to let the price action do its work instead of like you trying to force the price upward, right? So I didn't want to make any prediction instead of waiting for the price action to make a flag, and then so we can do some analysis. It's not a prediction, it's just an analysis. So it has to you have to be able to wait for for the opportunity to make a good analysis, not just jump into the price action and say BTC going to 10,000. So but we're going to take a look at the price action from daily time frame, weekly time frame, and then the lower time frame, right? So but we're gonna start up with the weekly time frame, right? So it is pretty critical. Most people are looking at BTC pulling back down to a 0.61. Pulling a pullback to 0.618, right? So when you take a look at it, right, it is very subjective, right? At what point you want to take a look at the previous high. So but when you take a look at the week of October 15, right? The week of October 15, just about this area, right? That was the 33rd. So BTC went up like to, I think like 76, right? From like a 6,000 to 76 in a heartbeat, right? Like around like 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. It just jumped out of nowhere. So, and then we got a rejection from the 50 EMA. Most people are not paying attention to the 50 EMA, right? You take a look at the 50 EMA, just about this area, right? So we got a rejection. The previous rejection was the 50 EMA, right? Double tap, just about like July, right? So that was the previous rejection. So it is pretty critical, right? So but most people are let's take a look at it. You most likely seen on YouTube, like most people put in their previous high just about this area. It is correct, right? That's the previous high when you take a look at it. But is it really the previous high? Would you looking at like the the previous rejection, because that's not a high, that's just like a sideways correction, right? So they playing with your mind, right? So that's a sideways correction, a dump to the downside. But the real previous high was like 7,600, right? 76, let's see, 7650, something like that, right? So but when you put your previous high just about this area, it's going to take you just about 0.618 pullback. So which is still correct, right? So but it's very subjective. Another interesting thing is that when you go, we have to go on Bitstamp, right? Let's go to Bitstamp. When you take a look at the price action on Bitstamp, the weekly time frame, you can see when you get the 33rd, right? The week of the 33rd, exactly, right? You remember on Binance, the week of the 33rd, price did not pull back at a 0.618, right? So but when you go on Bitstamp, price pull back at 0.618, right? So exactly at 53.78. So it is pretty critical to pay attention to these details, right? At the same time, you got a rejection from 0.786, 0.618, and then you also got a rejection from the 50 EMA, right? The crossover between the 50 and then 100 EMA. Like I said on my previous BTC price action update, I said like the 50 EMA and then the 100 EMA are the most respected moving averages on for BTC. So you just have to respect them. You don't have to use them, but you have to respect them, right? So we got a rejection from 50 EMA, and then at the same time got a rejection from 0.786. So the big question is which exchange you're going to be rely on, right? Are you going to rely on Binance for BTC to push back to 0.618? Because if BTC push to 0.618 on Binance, it's going to be 6,000, right? Because on Bitstamp it's already at a 0.618, but on Binance it's not yet, right? We're going to go back to Binance for a second to take a look at the price action of BTC on Binance, right? So the big question is it like on a Bitstamp, right? BTC gonna push now to 0.786. If BTC pushes to a 0.786, right, it's gonna be exactly at 6,000. And if BTC pushes at 0.618 on Binance, it's gonna be at 6,000. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, right? So before we go take a look at it, let's just target next target for BTC 6,000, right? 6,000 on Bitstamp, right? So you gotta remember Bitstamp already got its target of 0.618, right? So the next target for BTC on Bitstamp is going to be 0.786, right? Which is going to be exactly at 6,000, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on Binance. When we go back to Binance, right? Binance BTC is not even like at 50%, right? Retracement. It's just about like below 50% retracement when you take into account the tether fund, right? So as I previously said, right, you have to remember, right, because I'm switching screen, right? So the tether fund was October 15. You can go back on TradingView and do it on your own, right? The tether fund on Bitstamp was, on Binance also was on October 15. So when you take the fib retracement, BTC is far away from this 0.618, so you gotta keep that in mind. So the rally is, the uptrend is still not over, at least for the short term, right? I would assume like the uptrend, we still got like another 10-15% to the upside, right? At least for the short term. So, and then when you take a look at altcoin, most of the altcoin, they're not they're not even up, right? So keep that in mind, right? On the weekly time frame, BTC is still not at 0.618, right? At least on Binance, right? So unless you want to cheat yourself and say, oh, like most people, right, not paying attention to this 50 EMA, right? So let's take a look at it. Unless you say, oops, you want to cheat yourself, say, oh, that's a previous high. That's not a previous high. That's just a sideways correction. That's a previous high. Rejection. This doesn't have any rejection on the weekly time frame. So, right? So, but they're going to play with your mind, and then they're going to say, oh, we got a rejection, and then you're going to be shorting BTC. All of a sudden, you're going to see another 1,000 point to the upside. So, but let's go ahead and take a look at the daily time frame. When you take a look at the daily time frame, BTC is looking extremely bullish, right? But I don't see any sign of bearishness. The only sign of bearishness I can notify at this time is the volume, right? When you take a look at the volume, it's almost like a 3/4 of the previous volume, right? It is pretty significant, right? But you take a look at the volatility, right? The volume, even though we got a big volume to the, big selling pressure, the candle still, it's a very undecided candle, right? So let's change the color. No, let's not. Okay, let's just change the color, right? It's a very undecided candle, right? So you got this, right? And you got a big, it's not an arrow. Okay, you got this, right? So basically that's what you got, right? A very small body, right? So big tail, big wick, small body. That's an indication of a trend reversal, right? But we're just gonna have to wait and see, because it's a normal candle. Let's take a look at the Heikin-Ashi. On the Heikin-Ashi, it's still a uptrend, smooth uptrend, right? Even though, like when you go back to the normal candles, you got a big tail, big wick, small body. But when you go back to the Heikin-Ashi, you're just seeing like a smaller, a smoother trend, right? No tails, right? So what I'm looking for on the Heikin-Ashi, I'm looking for this type of candle to see like any trend reversal on the weekly time frame. So before I go back to the daily time frame, right? On the daily time frame before we go back to the weekly time frame. So I don't see any big tail, big wick, big wick, big tail, small body. I don't see it, right? The body doesn't have to be that small, but this type of body, right? We don't see any of these, right? So let's go back to the normal candles, right? So excuse me. So we got we're about to get a crossover, a sign of bearishness, a big rejection to the downside. We have to accept it. It is, this, just if you take a look at this area, we bearish, right? If you just take a look at this area, we bearish. But if you take a look at the volume, even though the volume is big, we're the selling pressure, the body of the candle is not big, right? So we still got a big push to the upside, right? So it is very, very important. And also you gotta keep an eye on the last hour and then the first hour for BTC, right? You can see like even though we very bearish the previous hour, the bears could have like take advantage of that bearishness to drop the price to the downside on these candles, right? This candle, right? This candle is still like, no, we're not even like 1% down today, right? And then it's almost like let's see, we're like 4 hours almost into the new day, right? So it is very critical, right? So we're just gonna have to wait and see if today's candle BTC gonna be able to make a break the previous high just about this area of a 50-50, right? Just about 50-50. So let's see if BTC will be able to push above 50-50. It is very critical, right? So these little details, are very critical. The crossover, no doubt we're gonna get this crossover, right? So BTC doesn't have any sign of support right now on the daily time frame. So the only time frame you can rely on is the weekly time frame. Like I said, like the daily time frame you cannot rely on. You just have to go by volume, candles, crossover, and these rejections, right? So it is very critical. So let's go ahead and take a look at the lower time frame. When you take a look at the lower time frame, we're taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, right? So the 4-hour time frame, the 50 EMA is pretty much like too far away from the current price, right? So the current price is just about like 49.14, and then the 50 EMA is just about 4,500. So the price BTC has to hold strong just about this area, right, of a 382. Remember, this yellow line is the 382 level, right? So for this 50 EMA to move very fast, right, and then support the price. Otherwise, it's not going to be good, right? So we got a clear ABC correction, right? So this is a clear one-to-one extension. Let's double check it. I don't want to cheat myself. Let's ignore this wick, right? Let's say we just like get to this point, right? So that's say 0.786, so it's not one-to-one, so it is at the 0.786, right? If you ignore the wick, right, just see the body close, right? So and then we at 0.786, but if you want to include the wick, we still got like some more room to go down, like let's say 47.03, which is also another good indication. Like we got a big support just about this area. So we could expect like for the short term BTC to come back down to this area of 40. If like let's say we're gonna see some bearishness, right? 43 or 47.03 could be a big support, right? Could be a big support. Let's say we're not going back to 6K from this point. Let's see how BTC gonna be able to handle the price just about this area of 47.03. So because the price gonna be moving, the 50 EMA gonna be moving fast, and then the price gonna be moving sideways. All of a sudden we're gonna get a support from 47.03. That's a possibility also, right? So for the bearish momentum, right? So it also take a look at the volume, right? It is a good sign. Volume is decreasing and then price is going down. So I would be like raising concern, like a raising flag if the price was increasing and volume was decreasing, right? Let's say we're getting like some bearish, some high lows, right? But a lot of selling pressure, but the price is just we're getting like some high lows, but we're getting selling pressure. So it's not good, right? So I don't know if you understand what I mean, but let me try to draw it. Let's say BTC was getting some higher low, but at the same time we're getting like decreasing volume. That's not good sign, right? Most people are not paying attention to that. They just think like volume is decreasing and then all of a sudden BTC gonna drop. Because if you go back to the weekly time frame, volume was decreasing but price was going up, but the price was bullish, right? So we were getting bullish candles, not like higher highs, right? I mean higher lows, right? We were getting like some higher lows with some bullish candles. That was pretty interesting. So you got to keep that in mind also, right? So basically that's about it for BTC. I think like altcoin gonna take over very shortly. BTC could be making this correction just about 47 to to like a 51, you know, before a push to the upside to a 66,000, right? Let's say 59.50 to a 6,100. So, but if we, let's say we break 47.03 to the downside, I'm gonna update the price. But I'm still bullish on BTC. Like I said, I was 90% bullish on BTC. I said it on the 24th, 90% bullish, 10% bearish. I'm still 90% bullish, you know, until we hit a 6,100, and then I'm gonna, you know, restructure my bullishness and then my bearishness. But you know, until we break 47.03, because once we break 47.03, it's gonna be a whole new structure. So it's not gonna be the same, right? And then at the same time, we have to go back to the weekly time frame, take a look at the weekly time frame in order to adjust our judgment. So based on the this price action, right? All right, let's go back very quickly. Take a look at the weekly time frame. When you take a look at the weekly time frame, right, on the Heikin-Ashi, I don't think we're gonna get any big tail, bigger, you know, big wick, small body anytime soon like that. You know, the price is too bullish, right? The only way we can get big tail, big wick, small body is like if BTC breaks like 47 to 46. So we still got like plenty of room, like for you know, to retest like a 53. So even like if we're gonna go down like to 40, 41, 42, we still gonna be we still got like plenty of chance to retest like a 51 to 53, right? So it's not like a, you know, it's gonna, the price gonna drop all of a sudden, right? So look out for this big tail, big wick, small body. I said it like you know, multiple times, like smooth uptrend, right? So all we have to do this week, not to be greedy, just to close above 4,800. That'd be great if BTC closes above 4,800 before Sunday, right? That's because you gotta remember, my ultimate target was just to close above 4,100 this week. So if I get 4,800, you know, that's a huge deal, right? So, and then the volume is pretty big. The current volume is just about 300,000 trading volume on Binance. It is even like actually, you know, bigger than this previous volume, trading volume, just about like the week of you know, second week of February, right? So we could be getting like up to like 400,000 trading volume, you know, before Sunday, because you gotta think about it, right? We got 4 more days to go: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? 3 more days, right? So that 3 days is almost like what? Almost over like 40% of the weekly, you know, it's almost 40%, right, of you know, 7 days, right? So you can expect like, you know, at least we're gonna get 30% of this 30% of this you know, trading volume. So we're gonna get like to at least like 390 to 400,000 you know, trading volume for BTC. We got plenty of room, man. We're gonna retest we're gonna try to retest 53 to 51. That's about it for today. So, you know, I'm gonna update the price if, like we say, we got a support from the 50 EMA on a 4-hour time frame. Let's say we get another breakout and break like 53, I'm still gonna update the price. But either way, you know, altcoin gonna be going crazy very shortly. The bullishness of altcoin, you know, already started just about like a couple hours ago. You can see like altcoin are, you know, gaining more dominance. So BTC is not gonna do anything. It's just gonna support alt, right? It's up like 1,000 point already. So it has to support alt, right? It's not just gonna drop all of a sudden. All right. Thank you for watching.